Welcome to Travel and Culture, brought to you by Emmanuel Onwuka and powered by Nigerian Info 99.3 Lagos. This is a show that talks about tourism, hospitality, vacation, relaxation, staycation, and the whole nine yards. We're all about experiences, adventures on this very show. Of course, we've been on the radio for close to a year now, and we've actually decided to transition so that we can come to you virtually and you can see us. And today on the show, we have the pleasure of having our very first guest who is joining us visually on the show, and I'll be introducing him in a minute. But let me tell you about a little about the place where we're going today. Yes, we're going to a different country today, and this country is all about the Alps. Ski resorts. It's a beautiful country, trust me, and it's known for its innovation as well. They are silent and they are luxury. It should give you a clue into the country that we're going. But ladies and gentlemen, let me not hold you for too long. I have the pleasure of introducing today on the show. We have with me the Consul General of Switzerland in Lagos, Frank Eggmann. Good morning, Mr. Eggmann.
Good morning, Emmanuel. You can call me Frank, Swiss
Okay.
Frank.
It's Swiss Frank. I like it.
That's my
Swiss Frank.
nickname.
Oh, that's your
Yeah,
nickname.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
so
yes.
nice, Swiss Frank.
My
It's
pleasure.
very, very great that we're having you on the program. After our meeting, I've been anticipating our interview, and I'm really glad that we're here and we're having this conversation.
This is part of my role as a Consul General for Switzerland, looking for synergies with the country I'm hosted by, Nigeria, Lagos, and discussing with people that are open to, jump into new ideas and develop a concept to have our bilateral relation growing, and doing things together. It's very important to us.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You put yourself in that space. Well, let me start by asking you about how long have you been in Lagos and what's your perception about the country so far?
So my stay in Lagos is now almost 2 years. As a diplomat, every 3 or 4 years, we have to apply for the next station because we only stay 3 or 4 years usually. And so I applied for 4 countries when I was based in Dubai for the next year transfer, the next year rotation. And amongst them was Lagos. And then I was also shortlisted for Chicago. So at the end of the day, the HR from my ministry in the headquarters asked me, okay, Frank, you have the choice. You go either to Chicago or to Lagos. And then I looked at my wife, we had a short discussion and we said, let us go to a place we would never dream of going to, who would come on a holiday to Lagos if you don't have a friend here or if you don't have relatives here? You will never put it on your bucket list, And we thought, okay, Chicago, we can fly anytime to Chicago, 10 days holidays, visit the museums and go to the good restaurant and have fun. But Lagos, nobody comes to Lagos, for holidays, at least not from people that I know. And I say, let's go for that because I want to know and I want somehow to kill and to take away those stereotypes we have about Lagos, about Nigeria, and sometimes about Africa. And that's why I'm here and I enjoy it very much.
So it was your sense of adventure
It is.
that brought you to Lagos.
Emmanuel, you don't do this job as a diplomat just to go in nice places. Otherwise, you limit yourself to some postings in Europe, and maybe one in North America, and maybe Sydney in Australia, and that's it. No. We decided for this career to go abroad and work for the Swiss government, to discover places, to get an open mind, about what are different cultures about, how do they click, what do they do, and how can we bring that together with Switzerland? That has been now 40 years of my career like that, 12 countries, plus some missions, specific missions in Palestine, in Libya. But those are short missions, troubleshooting.
Sure.
But otherwise, 12 countries on different continents. And that is my last posting. And I wanted to have a cherry on top of the cake. And that's Lagos.
Wow. Now I'm intrigued. You're literally living my dream. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Now, so far, I know the mindset now with which you came into Lagos, Nigeria. How far has that your perspective about the country, how's it been now?
It has beaten all my expectations in terms of the people that I meet here, the energy that I found in the different industries and sectors that we are active with. I'm amazed by everything that has to do with IT and tech and women in tech, how good those people are here in Lagos. I don't know outside. What I see is Lagos, because it's already overwhelming. The population of Lagos is more than double the population of Switzerland. So you imagine, for me, it's like a kingdom, like huge. And the people that I meet, but not only those that make a difference in the economy or in the business, but I scale it down to my usual relationship with human beings, being it the gardener or the person in the market or the Uber driver or any simple people in the streets. They're all very welcoming towards foreigners. At least I've never had a bad experience. And 90% of them are smiling, are welcoming you. I think they're even proud to see, okay, we have a foreigner that walks the streets, because I walk the streets, sometimes Ikoyi, Victoria. I don't go in any places, but some places I can walk freely during the day, and people are happy to see that foreigners take the street, share the food with them, eat a jollof rice, in the market, and goes to places like the shrine to listen to African beat and music and stuff like that. So go local. It's a fantastic experience.
Okay,
yes.
nice. Well, you said something earlier, and I want to take you on that. Saying that around the place you were, at the point in time when you were in Dubai, prior to you taking the decision to come to Lagos, you said that people around do not just want to come to Lagos for vacation. How can we improve on our public image outside? And what do you think is our public image? 2 years later, you've been here. What do you still think of our public image outside of Nigeria, outside the shores of Africa?
Well, at least I try to do my part to show Nigeria and Lagos that people don't know about. When I publish on social media, especially on LinkedIn, I'm very active on LinkedIn. If anybody wants to follow or to see what we write about Nigeria. The perception that people have outside, in the past 10, 20 years, Nigeria has been known for a harbor of scammers. Very smart people, wired and fast and street smart, and so the reputation comes back a bit on that. It also comes back on the fact that you have a population that is over 200 million inhabitants. And if you take only 1% that do a mistake abroad of this huge population, it's a large number. If you take 1% of Swiss population, it's a small number, we don't see them. But when Nigeria does something, because of the numbers, we see it. And we would love to change this perception, because Nigeria, like all the other countries, has bad elements and has very good elements. We have that in Switzerland too. So, it's just a matter of perception and being open to accept that you are different than me. You think different. You eat different, maybe. You laugh for other things. And your education has been different. So you move into a Nigerian environment with what you have been taught and the values that you have. And this is to be respected. I don't want to impose my values and my views. We have to find a common way to understand each other. That's my job.
Now, speaking about our cultural differences, all about cultural exchange, and one of the ways in which we can have cultural exchange is to see how we can have people from Switzerland visit Nigeria and people from Nigeria visit Switzerland. Now, I'm going to take you on people from Switzerland visit Nigeria. There are a lot of persons who you think might want to come from Switzerland to visit Nigeria. Do you think they see Nigeria as a tourist destination yet?
No, absolutely not. I'm sorry to be,
Direct.
frank like that.
Frank.
No, it starts already at the airport, although it has improved in the past 2 years. But when you arrive at the airport here, if you don't have somebody from the protocol taking you through, it's a hassle. It's complicated for European mentality, and especially for Swiss. We like things to be orderly, to be quiet, to be organized, not having to worry about things around us. Is still not given for Swiss people. Our mentality requires a bit more calm and safety for that. Then there is this whole economy about security. Do I really need an escort with AK-47 to drive down the streets, etc.? Am I not allowed just to go out at night and walk to the restaurant and go to the bar and come back to the hotel freely? Those are all factors that, that put Lagos on a risky side for the time being, where people don't feel like, no, I don't want to go there. It's my holiday. I want to enjoy it. I can go to other African countries that are better organized, where I can have a safari, where I can go, on a terrace at night and then walk back to the hotel, and that is more similar to a bit what we have in Europe. So on that side, I think there is still an effort from Nigeria to be done, and it will happen. Nigeria has other priorities. Now, on the other hand, the business community comes to Lagos. The business community wants to come to Nigeria, looks for partners. They know the market is huge, 200 million, 230 million inhabitants. I mean, if you can scale up your technology or your product and have it implemented here for the good of the Nigerian people, it's benefit for both, the Nigerian partner and the Swiss company that sells made in Switzerland. So yes, business community, very interested about Nigeria. Tourists, not yet.
How can we improve on that? I know you mentioned security as a factor, and then you said something that about, I just want to paraphrase it. Point me out if I'm correct or if I'm wrong, about people are not okay with the mentality of moving around with escorts and, having to go walk on the street and you have people escorting you. You want to move freely as a tourist when you come in, regardless of their status in society.
Yeah, absolutely. The president of Switzerland or the ministers in Switzerland, when they leave the headquarters, where they have their session with the parliament, etc., they take their bicycle and they go back home. They walk in the street. We meet them. We say, "Good morning, Mr. Minister," in the street, freely. They take the bus, the public transport, like everybody else. So this is something that is very valuable for Swiss, and that is not given here, So this is why. But I don't want to put the finger on that. It's at a stage of development. One day we'll get there. I'm just saying, Emmanuel, if you go on holiday and you pay money for your flight ticket and a good hotel, you want to relax, isn't it? You want to relax. Or maybe you are very much into African beat and Nollywood and I don't know what, and then you make it a point of coming to Nigeria because you have some contacts that will take you along, So I would really suggest to every Swiss citizen that would like to discover Nigeria, find yourself 2-3 partners in the industry you are in or in the interest you have, and if you go along with a Nigerian on your side, you're safe. You're safe. You need a guide. You need somebody that knows the price, that knows how to negotiate, that stands for you. Otherwise, you go under. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And you don't feel it as a critic?
No, I don't feel it as a critic because, of course, I know how my brothers and my sisters, how we act here. Of course, I still know that a lot of persons come to Nigeria and somehow they don't have a guide, but they're able to navigate their way, of course. And some persons, we've also improved on our tourist agencies. So we have tour guides, we have guides all around Nigeria. If you go online, booking.com, TripAdvisor, we have people there who try to make it easier for foreigners to come, especially persons who do not have friends or family members here in Nigeria.
Right. Yeah.
But like you said, we need to improve on this. This is a work in progress. And, that is why we're taking all of this feedback back, to put it out there so that our agencies, our governments, and everybody in the sector can improve on themselves. But now I'll go to Nigerians traveling to Switzerland, visiting the Switzerland. Should I say how difficult, or should I say how easy is it for a Nigerian to visit the Switzerland?
The story is always about visa and visa procedure. If you can tick all the boxes, in the documentation and the interviews and everything you go through to apply for the visa, if they can tick all the boxes, then the person receives the visa, usually. It's always good when the person has previous experience abroad, Because if a Nigerian decides to go right away to Switzerland, they're going to ask, yeah, but why Switzerland, you know? Haven't you been to first an English-speaking country? Because Switzerland is German to 65%, French-speaking to 30%, and Italian-speaking to 5%. So yes, we do speak English, but it's not our mother tongue. Not everybody from the older generation speaks English. So how do you want to navigate? Okay, it's free, it's safe, etc. Why don't you go first to other English-speaking countries? You prove that you came back. You didn't japa. You just came back, you know. And yeah, just that bracket about japa. You know, about 200 years ago, Switzerland was the poorest region in all of Europe. And we had thousands of people japa to other countries. That's 200 to 150 years ago. We were peasant. We didn't have anything. There was hunger. There were war around Switzerland. And our people fled to South America, to North America, and to places just for work. So that movement, we've gone through it too. And all those people somehow invested them back in the country later on. We call it, it's not FDI, foreign direct investment, is DDI, diaspora direct investment. All those Swiss came back with technologies from abroad, with ideas from abroad, with money from abroad, and invested in Switzerland. And this is where we are today. So I'm just, that JAPA bracket, yes, it's happening, but Nigerians invest in the country. They come back well educated, with a lot of experience, etc. So that movement has its pros and cons, but it's also positive to a certain extent. Now, going back to your question about how difficult it is, Switzerland is part of the Schengen countries.
Yes.
There are over 26, I think, in total, Schengen countries. So if a Nigerian applies for a Swiss visa with a clean, clear purpose why that person is going to Switzerland, it then goes into the system, and there is a consultation by all the countries. Any country in that Schengen space sees the application, it goes through filters, etc. And any country can put a stop to the application. Any country in Europe can say no to an application that the Swiss embassy processed. We can also stop applications. Say if the person is blacklisted for a reason with Switzerland or with another Schengen country, France, Germany, Italy, whatever, they can say stop. They can say no, you know, and then it blocks. It's not up to Switzerland at the end. It's up to the whole Schengen community to say yes. That's why the process takes 2 or 3 weeks. It's fast, it's computerized, but they have their filters, they have their AI, you know, going through the applications and everything. And anyone can raise their hand and say, wait, we want to double check. And then we want to stop that application or we want to give it. So Nigerian or other countries alike, they all go through the same consultation process within the Schengen states.
So does this apply to tourist visas and business as well? Or
Same. Being part of the Schengen space, you apply Schengen rules for anything. Business, tourist, and everything. Yes. So it's not easier. You know, often we have the question, and that's maybe good for your listeners. Could I apply with Switzerland? Is it easier than the other country to get the visa? No, it's not easier. It's the same procedure for all Schengen states. So there is no priority or whatever. They're all processed the same way. The civil servant receiving your application needs to be able to tick all the boxes and then puts it in the process. Then it goes through the process, approved, denied. Or special interview to add documents if something is missing and etc. Yeah, it's a complicated process.
We know that the Switzerland appeals to the luxury tourists.
Yes.
More appeals
Yes.
to luxury tourists
Yes.
more. But is there a way you're trying to also make tourism in Switzerland appeal to everybody? so to speak, because a lot of Nigerians are not in the luxury bracket, but then they have that adventurous spirit. They really want to explore the next level, want to see the world or
Yeah.
explore the world, like I like to say.
Yeah.
So, are there opportunities that people can, leverage on to be able to explore Switzerland, without going through all of the hitches and, the whole concept of maybe you're not going to come back to Nigeria, maybe you want to jack back?
I would say, you have to take into account that Switzerland has 4 seasons. Due to the climate here, you're probably not used to winter in Switzerland. So if it's your first trip to Switzerland, I would recommend you go springtime or summer or beginning of fall, but not from October to March, April, because you're gonna not like it, and you're not gonna go much outdoors. And Switzerland is known for its landscape, for the Alps. It's known for its fantastic hiking possibilities. In Switzerland, we have over 65,000 kilometers of hiking trails. 65,000 kilometers. That's 40,000 miles of hiking trails. You hike with your backpack. You stop in a little refuge. You sleep in a camping. You pass a mountain. You enter the valley. You stop. You live, in an Airbnb or with the people. This is what we are selling in Switzerland. We're also telling people, don't go and visit Europe in 10 days, 3 days in Italy, 2 days in France, 1 day in Germany, then 1 day in Switzerland. Lots of photo on your Instagram. You have seen nothing. You have experienced nothing. So Switzerland Tourism, which is our agency that promotes tourism for foreigners, for Nigerians, is putting an emphasis on don't jump from one place to the other. Why don't you just rent a small Airbnb or a simple pension close to the people that live there, Not 5-star, but just a simple one. And then from there, you buy a public transport ticket for a week. And then you explore. One day you go there and you visit this. The next day you go there. In 2-3 hours, you cross Switzerland. It's like, for me, going from here to the airport, if there is a lot of traffic, I've done already half of Switzerland. That's how small it is. So basically, if you have a base in Switzerland, or maybe you have a friend in Switzerland, or somebody in the cultural area that you work with, I don't know, then you stay at this friend's place, and from there, you start exploring. You ask people, what should I do? Where should I go? Which one is the restaurant? If you stay only 1 or 2 nights in a place, you're going to go where everybody goes. Where all the Chinese go, all the Japanese go, all the any country. They all go to the same restaurant. They take a picture of the same place. You don't want that. You want to be different. So go behind the scene and discover what Switzerland is really to offer, That would be my, my advice. Yeah. So not only the luxury segment, we know lots of people go to, we have very good clinics, very good hospitals in Switzerland. So people that need, or that want surgeries or rejuvenation process or cosmetics or whatever, welcome. We have so many good clinics, so many good hospitals. We are top notch. We are top of the line. Yes, go there. It's very expensive. If you have the money, go for it. Loads of hotels around and restaurants where you can spend a lot of money. Be my guest. It's fantastic. You will enjoy it, definitely. It's a postcard, Switzerland. You open the window in the morning and you go like, that's a postcard, like it's wonderful. Huh? But there are also many other things that people don't know and need and owe to discover in Switzerland. It's like Nigeria. It's not only, Lagos. Yes. A lot of things outside, but it's such a huge country. I don't even have time to visit everything,
And we should create that time for you to actually visit.
Yeah. I'd love that.
You've not traveled to the south, have you?
No. I go here along the coast. There are some beach resorts that we like to go on weekends, for example, not too far away, an hour drive or something like that. That's good enough. From time to time, I'm in Abuja for the work. That's about it, August State, and that's it. I haven't seen much of the country. But as I said, Lagos is already almost double the population of Switzerland. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things to
You're
experience
already
here.
feeling overwhelmed.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, this is great. Again, I have to come back because I'm very, very particular about how where our brand is, the Nigerian brand is outside, and how people from outside view it. Because one of the reasons why we're doing this is to see how we can sell the Nigerian brands to foreigners and how we can have that collaboration. Do you think it would help if we have people from Switzerland invest in the hospitality in Nigeria to better spotlight the country to other Swiss people?
It's in the making. Companies investing into, vocational training in the hospitality sector. We have Swiss companies that train already young Nigerians and then send them to Switzerland for further training. So there are areas of cooperation. But the hospitality business is definitely something that we should look at more in detail, because we have, and I can say that, Switzerland has the best international hotel management schools in the world. Everybody that wants to study hospitality goes to Switzerland. Tourism started in the 19th century in Switzerland. We have made it a point of developing that training and these skills in hospitality sector to be the best. And we should replicate that here. There is another East African country that started already 30 years ago with a training school that was sponsored by a hotel school in Switzerland. And they opened a branch in East Africa, in a country in East Africa. And this is a very successful project. Loads of young Africans started their training there, and then they were able, to find jobs in the Middle East or in other countries, thanks to that level of quality that we brought. So yes, I would really encourage anyone that has a good idea of pushing, the topic of hospitality training in Nigeria with Switzerland to come up with an idea, and then we could explore that. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I believe that there are lots of people. We have the Restaurants, Cafes, and Bars Association here in Lagos, and I think that is something they would like to leverage on. We also have the Ministry of Tourism here in Lagos. Lagos is trying as much as possible to be on the map. You were in Lagos during December. Were you in Lagos in December?
No, I was traveling in
Oh,
December.
okay.
Why?
Well, I'm sure people must have told you about Death December. You must have seen it
Yes.
online.
Yes.
And it's one of the, pilot projects for the government, especially during that time of the year, to see how people return back to Nigeria and celebrate in Nigeria. So I think they would want that kind of collaboration. But are there other exchange programs, cultural exchanges initiatives that are ongoing that we might not be aware of between Nigeria and Switzerland at the moment?
Switzerland has an agency called Pro Helvetia, which is an agency that supports foreign projects in foreign countries. We just founded an artist in Abuja, a Nigerian artist it's a lady actually, that is into gaming industry. And she developed her own game.
Oh, wow.
Of a woman hero that has to fight the demons and God knows what, with a bit the Nigerian cultural background, in the history. So making it appealing, to an audience that could be international. So we support artists. It's the agency that does the screening and that decides which projects are good for that. The Art Biennale here, it's every 2 years. Yeah. In Lagos, in that huge stadium. It was just at the beginning. In that stadium, when you go to Lagos Island.
Lagos Island, yes.
Where the independence was proclaimed.
Yes,
Yeah.
TBS,
So they had a huge exhibition there, and we had one Swiss artist exhibiting there. And then on the other hand, we also have Nigerian artists doing residencies in Switzerland, invited as artists to stay in a place for 3 months or 6 months for a project, for a joint project. So this cross-pollination exists between the cultural scene in Nigeria and the cultural scene in Switzerland. We would love, to develop that, but then you have the language barrier. For example, Nollywood Nollywood is going to be English and Pidgin. That's it. It's not going, you know.
We can do Yoruba.
Also, yeah, that wouldn't be very helpful for Switzerland. But yes, you know, we have this kind of interaction with Nigeria, and those are always a very fun projects, I must say.
This is me thinking now. South Korean has been at the forefront of trying to sell their movies to the world, and I believe Swiss people are not exceptions from these people who consume South Korean movies. And what they do is that they subtitle it and make it. They make people that way people can absorb it better. So how about we have it subtitled in maybe German, Nollywood in German, in French, in Italian, and then we have it, we sell or we bring it over to Swiss. That way they're able to consume our content and understand our culture better with the language that they understand.
But this is already done via Netflix, for example, where you have Nigerian movies that are subtitled when they speak Pidgin, but usually it's in English. I saw one that was called, I don't remember, The Black Book.
Oh, Black Book. Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent movie.
Yes, I love it.
Thriller, like I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. And gosh, I would tell my fellow Swiss citizen, please watch those movies, get interested. There is a lot coming from here. And about the Korean series, etc. I'm not so sure that Switzerland is keen about Asian things.
Why?
Maybe Philippines, Thailand, China, they all watch those Korean series. It's like the Brazilian novelas in Brazil. It's rather the Portuguese, the Italian, the Latin countries of Europe that would watch those Brazilian novelas. Not really the Swiss people, no, not. So I think Nollywood has a better chance. Yeah.
I hope Nollywood guys are listening.
Yes, I hope so.
We start working towards that.
And I was thinking when you said about hospitality, what are the Africans restaurants that we find in Switzerland? There is no Tanzanian restaurant, there is no Kenyan restaurant, there is no Uganda restaurant, there is no Ghanaian restaurant, maybe a South African braai, grill, barbecue, maybe one or two. But then we have plenty Ethiopian restaurant. Ethiopian food is quite common in the big cities in Switzerland. You will find Ethiopian restaurant. That means we have a diaspora of Ethiopians in Switzerland. And that has opened up Ethiopia for tourism from Switzerland. Because you have that link. Oh, let's go eat Ethiopian. And then let's
go to the sauce.
Yeah. And then we eat, the injera, it's called, that flat bread. And then you eat with your fingers. And it's very tasty, etc. What about jollof rice in Switzerland? What about one or two restaurants, Nigerian restaurants, that come up with the real speciality of Nigeria? That's a door, to the country. To the country. But that we should tell Nigerian living in Switzerland already, open something and make your gastronomy known to Swiss people. That is a door to invite people to your table in Nigeria. Isn't it?
Great. Yes, that's great. And I hope they also listen and take this, because of course we've seen it, but usually the Nigerian people, they like they open such when there's like a Nigerian community or an area where they know Nigerians will patronize, because it's a little bit, maybe they can introduce it to them during one of their weddings, the Nigerian style of wedding.
Yes.
We have our culture.
Yes.
And maybe when they invite Swiss people and they see that a couple of them like the jollof rice when it's prepared, when it's served at the weddings, then they can now start seeing a business opportunity from it. But I know Nigerians, we think very fast.
Yeah. Oh, you are quick.
Yeah,
very quick. Yeah.
So I'm thinking that somebody, if it's not already existing, somebody is at the verge of getting this started, in Switzerland. If they are not, then this video is going to be the sign to them to actually begin in Switzerland.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
And we will be the first guests to taste their food, huh?
That would be nice. But let's go to tech now, innovation
Yes.
and technology. I also understand that Switzerland is also on that very space. They're also doing very well in that space. But there was an interview you had, and you said that we should only go for an innovation that we need, innovation that is needed. What did you mean by that?
Innovation should serve the needs of a certain category of people. We see loads of innovative products that I really think, do we really need that? Your telephone is filled with applications that are totally useless. Why do we want to become slaves to this technology if it's not a need, a real need, That was maybe what I said. I don't really remember about that. What I can tell you is that Switzerland has been ranked the most innovative country in the world for the 13 past years in a row. It's always the first. It's just because the universities and applied science universities and the vocational trainings work together with the government. They talk to each other. The government doesn't tell the companies and the universities what to do. It's the other way around. So there is a discussion between the government and the business branch of the different industries, and that has how shall I say that? That has put the level of innovation to higher grounds, to a higher level, because there is this desire of always exceeding, making it better. If you have an application, don't jump to the other application. Make it better, make it more user-friendly, more accessible, to elderly people, to young people. Think about what you can do for society to make it easier. And not everything needs to go through applications or through technology. But we see nowadays we can cure diseases, we can, perform a surgery with distance, from Switzerland in Nigeria.
Technology has made it easier to monitor, observe, diagnose.
Exactly. Artificial intelligence helps us to take quick decisions based on facts, I'll give you an example. If you go, 20 years ago, you go to the doctor with a mole and you say, it's a bit strange, this mole on my skin. What do you think? Is it cancer? Is there a risk? He would cut it out. He would send it to a laboratory. They would have to make a culture to grow it. 3 weeks later, you would have the result, cancer, not cancer. Nowadays, you take a picture, you put it in the database. They compare with database of thousands of hospitals. In 5 seconds, you have yes, at risk, no, not at risk. See, so technology is something that helps us in many ways, but only make it where it's very only necessary. Don't develop a technology just to try to make money and get funds, and then you drop it. Make it if you can change the life of some people.
So it has to be sustainable.
That would be my vision. Maybe you have another vision. I don't know. Maybe you want to do money first and then think about the better application. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. This is really nice. It's really nice. But before we go, there was something that sparked conversation between us the day we met, and I would like us to go back to that because I think a lot of Nigerians can learn from that message from that story you told me, and you're speaking about the educational system in Switzerland, when compared with the Nigerian system. Now, I'm going to let you talk about it, and tell us a bit about your story, about how you got to where you are. So did you go for the education? Because in Nigeria, immediately you're born, in education, you go through the kindergarten, down to junior high, down to, college, down to universities, just like that. It's all a process for us here in Nigeria, and there's no quote and unquote think outside the box, except you can't afford it. And people pay so much attention to the educational system, so they feel like without education, I can't make it in life. That's the mindset that we have. But you said there's a different perspective to things. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, I'll make it very brief, straight to the point. Over 70% of our young people, when they leave the mandatory primary, secondary level school, you're about 16 years old, 70% of the young people in Switzerland opt for a vocational training, hands-on job, meaning you work for a company for 3 days a week, and then 2 days a week you're in school. It's a vocational training. It goes minimum 3 years until you have your federal certificate. It can go up to 4 to 5 years depending on the options that you're looking at. Vocational trainings in Switzerland, you have, and I'm not lying, you can read it on the internet, we have 240 professions you can learn in Switzerland. 240. Basic things: butcher, bakery, carpenter, plumber, pharmacist, banker, tourism, and go. Medical, not as a doctor, but nursing, medical care, anesthetist, driver, anything now, a lot of jobs in IT developer. So you don't need a university degree to do that. You better go with 16, 17 years of age. You go and learn for 3 years within a company that develops your social skills, your hands-on job, and then you move on. Then after 3, 4 years, you get a diploma, you work, you have your own apartment, you buy your own car. Later you marry, you build a house, whatever, because you have a steady salary. Later on, with 30 or 40, you maybe decide to add some academic, diplomas to your courses. This is exactly what I've done. I started my apprenticeship in business administration. I was 16. 3 years, 19. One year I went to the army. With 20, I was self-sufficient, independent. I had my apartment, I had a small motorbike, and I was giving my mother a little amount. Every weekend I would go home because of the laundry. I didn't do my laundry, she was doing my laundry. I was paying my mother that, symbolic, but just to say, I don't depend from you anymore. I'm a grown up. I visited a university for the first time. I was 40 years of age. So basically I started in the diplomatic service. I was the shoe cleaner. Oh no, I'm saying shoe cleaner. I was doing visas, I was doing the passport, the accounting, the security, all those things. And then I grew into the system, and with 40 I was given the opportunity to have to study international relations aside from my job.
Sure, yeah.
So my employer made that possible, that I studied and worked at the same time. And then I went into the real diplomatic, job, being trade promotion, public diplomacy, cultural exchange, and those things, with 40. So that's 20 years ago. So this is the courses of Swiss people. 70% of our kids go first for an apprenticeship, and later on maybe study in the university.
What do you think this has done to your community or to the country? How do you think this has helped the country?
The plumber in my village drives a Mercedes. I think that says it all. The plumber in my village drives a Mercedes. He sits at the table with the doctor, with the professor, with the banker. They're all equal. There's no difference, He earns as much as anybody else, more or less, Like when you're 30 years old in Switzerland, you all have more or less the same salary, given $1,000 plus a year, $1,000 less a year, and so. But basically, you have equal chances, because when the plumber or the guy for the air conditioning or whatever comes and fixes your installation at home, there is a guarantee that comes with it. He doesn't need to come the next day because he learned the skill. He knows exactly, where to put that screw, how to repair it. It's years of experience and skills. You have to pay for that. It's not free of charge. A carpenter in Switzerland makes good money, but the furniture he prepares for you and the installation he does in your kitchen, that's for 3 generations. You don't touch it anymore. It's done. It's good. It's solid. Our walls in Switzerland are that thick. I mean, they withstand time, and that's why we have castles and palaces and old houses and history, because those people know what they were doing, and they were doing it well,
So they learned the skills very well.
That's the basic of everything. We have two programs here in Nigeria through Swiss companies where we train young technicians. The last batch that we had, I went for the graduation, 19 Nigerian students that just finished school, not from university. They just finished school, so 15, 16 years old. They go through a process of recruiting. 19 of them were taken, 10 ladies, 9 boys. So we have gender equality in Swiss companies, very important for us. They do 2 years training in-house. Here, I can tell the company, it's Nestlé. You all drink Nescoffee. You have the bouillon cubes for Nestlé, you know. This is a Swiss company. And they train batches of technicians every year, you have about 50 of them. And when they finish, the 5 best ones from that batch go for 3 months to Switzerland, where they get further training. And they can, you know, they discover my country, they eat my food there, they meet my people there, and then they come back here. You imagine? Those are the best ambassadors for Switzerland when they come back to Nigeria and talk about the experience in Switzerland. And maybe we should do vice versa. Invite young people to come for some training here,
Exactly.
and then they would be your ambassadors in my country.
Exactly. I think that would work very well because that is what we are all about, building that cross-cultural relationship, you know, outside of business, you know, and other things, but people who would literally be ambassadors of both Nigeria and Switzerland. But I want to really thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming and making it, you know, a date with us here to share your experience and share your knowledge. I believe, well, I have one question though before we go. So you said there's a positivity to Jakba.
Yes.
There's a positivity to it. So how wide are your doors as regards to Jakba?
Let's discuss it case by case. No, I think everyone that tries to go abroad, I would say go legally. You know, go legally. You can japa legally and go to another
But
country.
the process is very, there's a lot of money spent, you know, applying over and over again, and then some persons have to go through agents. Are those things even, you know, they spend a lot of money. Nigerians spend a lot of money trying to leave the shores of the country, be it for study,
Yeah,
be it for
I know.
totally relocate or
I know.
immigrate.
I know. But the positivity about it is that they don't stay there, and they keep their family here. So the family benefits from them being abroad. The investments they do in the country, lots of investment in new things are done by Nigerians that were once abroad or that are still abroad. You know, they invest in their own country because they believe 2025 is going to be better than 2024.
I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
My
for
pleasure,
being here on
Emmanuel.
the show. Thank you so much.
All
I
the
really
best,
appreciate
and
it.
we'll meet in Switzerland next time.
Sure, please. That's the dream. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate your time. I do hope that this conversation that we've had, you know, has enlightened you and opened you up to more opportunities that is out there regarding the collaboration between Nigeria and Switzerland and how we can, you know, integrate our people, how we can work together both in the business world, in vocation, and other, you know, cultural aspects as well, in creative sector, in tech. You know, these are many more opportunities that, you know, Switzerland and Nigeria collaboration holds, and we as Nigerians should take advantage of it. Of course, there's not only Switzerland that's out there. We don't want to overwhelm them, but of course, we know that this is one of them, and I believe that this interview, you know, has given you the knowledge necessary for you to take the very next step. Until we meet again, this is Travel and Culture with Emmanuel Onwuka. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for our viewers. We really appreciate you. We'll be back here again and give you more content. Have a lovely day.